What's up, brothers? Oh, we're so fucking back. Football is back. Your commissioner is here. It's the first fucking power rankings of the goddamn season. And I'm fucking amped, boys. Let me tell you. Woo! Was it a great first week for me? No. But as your commissioner, I am so happy to be here to be able to give you all the first power rankings of the season. You'll notice that I don't have our vice president here with me today, and I didn't want there to be any confusion that there might be any sort of collusion or things like that in terms of the rankings. So we're doing this solo dolo for the first rankings of the season. I looked into the crystal ball and I said, this is where these teams are going for the rest of the season, or at least for the next 4 weeks. I don't know. We'll see. It's very tough, especially these first few weeks. Offenses were down in some parts, and some players were playing way better than others. Let's go ahead and get into the power rankings. The Gentlemen's Football Association first power rankings of the 2024-2025 season, presented to you by your commissioner, Murph. And I thought we'd do things a little bit differently this year. I think that we should start with number 1. Oh, Daddy's done and thrown a curveball. The number 1 ranked team following week 1 in terms of the power ranking is concerned, the Tennessee Colonels. Let him have his lap, ladies and gentlemen. Let him bask in the sunlight. The Tennessee Colonels, in case you are just coming in, the number 1 team, the Tennessee Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, just kidding. Get fucked, kid. You're not number 1. Suck my fucking dick, Chase. This is my show. You're not the number 1 team. Get the fuck out of here. Number 10. We go from 10 here. The number 10 team, power ranked week 1, is going to be the Clark County Crusaders. Now here, let me talk about it. Okay. The Clark County Crusaders, this was very tough between 2 specific teams, and I think that we all know who the other team is, the Shadow Troop. This was a very tough decision for me for who to put as number 10. And the deciding factor for me was specifically the quarterback play. Brock Purdy is going to come around. He will come around. He's going to play better. The jury is still out on Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. I'm not sold on Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. Now, keep in mind, there's not a whole lot happening on either of these teams. In my heart of hearts, I believe Dylan's team does show more promise in the future, and I think Dylan will win more games. But as they sit right now, I think that the Clark County Crusaders lack more depth and multiple big guys at the moment. You could really put either of these teams at 10. Okay. We all knew this. So let's go ahead and cut to the chase. Number 9, we've got the Shadow Troop. Okay. Chase did not chime in on the YouTube. He said, "Let's go, pussies." Oh, fuck you, Mirth. You are a bitch and a clown. Suck a dick. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of fire I like to see. Parker Lutz at number 9. Saw a lot of good things out of Anthony Richardson, minus the interception. Jamar Chase is still here. They played a very tough defense in the New England Patriots last week. That's about the only thing that the New England Patriots have to offer. Kamara looked very, very good, and I think is going to be good throughout the entire season. But Blake Corum is on his team. Michael Pittman is here. Sam Laporta is a shining star on this team. Rome Odunze still doesn't have a role quite yet in Chicago. Jordan Addison has Sam Darnold throwing to him. Will Levis is on his bench. Bo Nix looked better, but I don't know that we see a whole lot from him this year. I'm not high on Bo Nix. He's got Bazooka Joe still on his team, the third string quarterback for New England. So that's solid. Let's stop talking about the looters, or not the looters, the Southern Indiana, Southern Illinois, whatever the fuck it's called. They're number 9. It doesn't matter. Number 8, the Beecher Creatures. Oh, Austin. We had a little bit of a dud this week. Jalen Hurts. He's going to need Jalen Hurts to score at or above projections week in and week out. Let me tell you why. Michael Holmes is here. Welcome to the show. Creatures at 8. Yes, that is correct. Creatures at 8. Bijan Robinson will improve. I'm going down the lineup. I know they're not on here, but I'm talking to you. It's like we're sitting down having a cup of coffee. Bijan Robinson will improve. Jonathan Taylor. The Colts are something. And I don't know what to think of the Colts yet. There's the receivers of the Colts. I don't know that I could wholeheartedly start one. Alec Pierce had like one catch for like 80 yards or something like that. Chase Holmes said, Rex is a fraud. I would like to correct this statement. You can't be a fraud at 8. So you have to be like top tier and then be fraudulent. Amon-Ra St. Brown. The Lions looked clunky week 1. Now, offenses in general looked clunky. Drake London, I do not like in general. So that is an issue. Trey McBride will improve. Cook did all right. Puka Nacua. Shall we? Puka Nacua is going to be out for 4 weeks. Commissioner Murph, who's he going to replace him with? Well, let's find out. Jackson Smith-Njigba put out a 3.9. He's got Zay Flowers here and Xavier Worthy. Zay Flowers I like. Xavier Worthy, now, Kansas City is a high-flying offense. There may not be as many mouths to feed as we might think. It very much looks like a Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and hopefully Travis Kelce catching all of the passes. Puka more like Poopa. We shall see. Dylan also is here. Crusaders will be avenged. Creatures will go down in week 2. Bookmark it. We love to see the trash talk early, gentlemen. What do I think about the Beecher Creatures? Well, they are deeper than some teams. However, holy shit did his bench suck ass outside of Zay Flowers and Xavier Worthy. They're deserving of 8. They're deserving of 8. I think that they will have a better week next week. But how good of a week? We've seen this team's floor, I think, hopefully. We don't know what this team's average is. So they're at 8. Hard to be hard. I will also say it's going to be hard to be ranked lower than that with the Crusaders and the Shadow Troop down at 9 and 10. So 8 might as well be 10 for where Rex is concerned. Number 7, Bear Boobs. But Commissioner Murph, Sam won last week. You forgot whose show this was. The Bear Boobs ended up taking down the Shadow Troop. Weak schedule in week 1. They scored 120 points. And Dak Prescott looked okay. Derrick Henry has a very questionable offensive line, as it seems at the moment. David Montgomery, shining star. A.J. Brown, shining star. Stephon Diggs, shining star. Joe Mixon, holy shit. Those were 4 guys. And he also had Jake Moody on his bench. He's a kicker, doesn't count. I'm worried about the consistency up and down this lineup. He got the big points where he needed them, but Evan Ingram, 1.2 points. DeAndre Hopkins shouldn't have been started in this scenario. But I don't know who he plays in that scenario. Gabe Davis is probably going to start this week over DeAndre Hopkins because I don't believe DeAndre Hopkins is old and crippled. I worry about where the points are going to come from week in and week out for the Bear Boobs. A.J. Brown scoring 20 points is great. You can't count on that every week. Stephon Diggs scoring 18.9. Maybe we see a resurgence for Stephon Diggs. Maybe him being a prima donna, he's going to get the ball. You would think that Dak would score more points. You would think Joe Burrow would score more points. So we'll see a little bit more from them. But from his skill positions, you can't count on those big hitters week in and week out. I just don't see this consistency here. So I've got Sam at 7 for now. Okay. Let's see here. Number 6. The Cali Pigs. In all honesty, if you would have told me that after week 1, Ryan Taylor is going to be ranked 6th, like heading into the free agency draft, I would have said Ryan Taylor is going to be he's either going to be right, like, I don't know if I would have ranked him higher than 8 going into the season. What Ryan has done so far, now it's only week 1. He lost, but he did score 127 points. Matthew Stafford, great quarterback, doesn't get enough credit. James Conner is going to look very good this season. He didn't get the production out of Zamir White, but we will see that later this year. Let's see. Wow, Reed had a monster game. Kyle Pitts is in the double digits, ladies and gentlemen. Calvin Ridley is a solid flex option. Adam Thielen, well, he's working with what he's got, folks. He also has Rashid Shaheed down here, so that's also worth noting. I would have started Rashid Shaheed over Adam Thielen, but that is just me. I'm not trying to tell you how to run your team. But this team intrigues me. And as of right now, he's power ranked as if he's going to make the playoffs. So, and I think that this is going to be a common theme. There's going to be about 3 to 4 teams that are going to be fighting for these last 2 spots. And I think it's going to be very, very interesting down the stretch. I think Ryan Taylor doesn't get enough credit. I think he gets shit on a little bit too much for the position that he put himself in, and not enough credit for using the shovel to dig him out of the shit that he put himself in. Pigs are at 6. Number 5, the Bond County Coonhounds. Okay. They had a pretty good week last week. Unfortunate how it ended up panning out. Mark Andrews was almost nowhere to be seen. But shining spots. Lamar Jackson, big time. Represent. Isaiah Pacheco, dog. Kenneth Walker, also a dog. DJ Moore, didn't see a lot out of Chicago's passing offense. That was pretty shitty. Didn't like that. Mike Evans, dog. Jalen Waddle, solid in the flex. Travis Kelce, almost nowhere to be seen. Jordan Love, hurt. However, Baker Mayfield, dog. He's coming in. He's getting the nod in week 2. I'm excited about that. I like the depth that I have. Trying to remove all bias as possible. Do I think this team is perfect? Do I think this is the team that we're going to ride into the sunset with? No. I think there will have to be moves made eventually. I don't know what those moves are. I think I would say a big-time wide receiver 1, but Mike Evans has played like it both last year and is starting out hot this year. Running backs are solid. I would have said the tight ends were going to be our shining spot, but that remains to be seen this year. And we've got some depth at wide receiver, but not the depth that I would like. I think I would like to add one more wide receiver. But I think that this team will find itself in the playoffs. I feel confident in that statement. Moving on. Number 4. Top 4 here, ladies and gentlemen. Might get spicy. I don't know. Oh, the St. Louis Looters. Okay. We all know that Rex was down on the Looters to begin the season. I'm never going to count out Patrick Mahomes, although we are probably going to see a slow ramp up as the season moves on. I think that 15 is close to his floor. Ramondre Stevenson, if the New England Patriots continue to run the ball the way that they did, and Stevenson does become the bell cow that he was the year prior, not last year, the year before that, Ramondre Stevenson could be an absolute steal. Kyren Williams, gonna be a solid running back all year. Devontae Adams, bum. Cooper Kupp, stock value through the fucking roof right now. This is what scares me going into week 2. I think Cooper Kupp, he scored 25 this past week. He might have a 30 burger this coming week. Michael Holmes says, Looters finished this season 7th place, bookmark it. I am going to respectfully disagree with you. I think this team makes the playoffs. I think that there are, with the Crusaders and it's going to come down to, do you beat the teams that you are supposed to? And if I'm looking back at week 1, we had the Bond County Coonhounds playing Tennessee Colonels. I think they're both playoff teams. This is not one of those matchups where got to beat this guy, because down the line, you're going to wish that you won that game. The St. Louis Looters beating the Beecher Creatures. Beecher Creatures might be in that category where we got to beat this team. Huntsville Hitmen took care of business against the Clark County Crusaders, and Sam took care of business against the Shadow Troop. Got to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. We saw last year that it ended up coming down to points, and I think it very well could again this year. Back to the Looters roster. It was a fine week. It was mostly led by Cooper Kupp. DK Metcalf, underwhelming. Terry McLaurin, yikes. Dalton Kincaid, double yikes. Man. Am I rethinking this? No, I was right the first time. The Looters are at 4 for now. They could be 5 or 6. They could be 5 or 6. But I'm right. They're 4 for now. Deservedly so. I don't know why. I'm questioning that for sure. Fuck. No, I made up my mind. 4. Number 3. The Tennessee Colonels. Now, we had our fun earlier in this slideshow. If you weren't here for the very beginning, I highly suggest you rewind that bitch and look at the very beginning of the slideshow. I enjoyed every bit of that. The Tennessee Colonels are number 3. Logan, they scored the most points last week. Why are they not number 1? Points matter, but they're not everything when it comes to power rankings. Again, has nothing to do with league standing. CJ Stroud, going to be a good quarterback. Going to be solid all year. I'm a Stroud boy. Stroud boy. All right. Josh Jacobs, not sold. Not sold on Josh Jacobs. And I think that the hot take, the Jordan Love injury, is going to hurt Josh Jacobs more in fantasy than I think we all realize. I want you guys to screen record this right now. Josh Jacobs scored 11.4 points last week. For however long Jordan Love is out, I want us to collectively look at the production that Josh Jacobs is going to put out in the next few weeks, because I think that this is going to hurt Josh Jacobs more. But Logan, they're going to run the ball more. He's going to get beat to shit in these next few weeks, and I think it is going to hurt the longevity of Josh Jacobs throughout this fantasy season. Aaron Jones, solid week, 17.9. I think that Minnesota is going to be behind in a lot of games. And so I don't know that by them playing the New York Football Giants is a good gauge for where Aaron Jones is going to be this season. Tyreek Hill is Tyreek Hill. Let's be honest. 22. I think he could put up 20 every week. Dog. Nico Collins, dog. David Njoku catches balls from a sexual predator. He did have 8.2 points this week. I do not believe that this will continue because the Browns are going to have to shift how they play football if they want to win football. Rashee Rice, solid option. Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not see the football all that much. Dylan Murphy says Chase is also a sexual predator. These are allegations. No convictions have been found. Oh, Michael Holmes said, wrong Holmes, brother. Now we have a confession. Thank you very much. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not see the football all that much. Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill as a stack is always going to be good. Kaimi Fairbairn kicked the ball in an efficient manner this past week. But we're not going to base power rankings off of kickers. Now, Hyatt, 0. Mims Jr., 0. Jahan Dotson, goose egg. Luke Musgrave, goose egg. Dameon Pierce, 1.6. Brian Thomas Jr., solid spot on the bench. Probably will start this week. He scored 12.7. Benson, 2.3. Keon Coleman, 7.1. Also a okay spot, but Buffalo scares me right now at the moment. Russell Wilson, garbage can. He also had Robinson Jr., who also did well, but again, they're going to be, well, he did do this in a deficit game. 16.4 is very solid. The depth of this team is the reason that I have them at where I have them. What is it? 3. Yes. He could pull a Ryan Taylor, ride this team with no injury all the way to the playoffs, and we're talking about this guy's number 1. Absolutely. But as it sits right now, I have questions. So you're at 3. Number 2, Michael Holmes, sexual predator, confirmed on this show. Michael Holmes scored 128 points this week, but it's his roster that does it for me. It's his roster. Okay. Josh Allen, dog. Rachaad White ran the ball. Tampa Bay, I think, was 31st last year in running the football. And but his effectiveness came from his receiving the football. And when you've got a guy that can do both, baby, we got something. Rachaad White is going to be good. I am so high on the Bucks. A-Chain okay, Michael, I understand. Let me get to it. Thank you. A-Chain, however the fuck you want to pronounce his name, is going to be the new Christian McCaffrey as long as he remains in Miami. CeeDee Lamb only scored 11, and that will only balloon from here. Deebo Samuel, Ayuk hardly saw the ball. Deebo is their answer for everything right now at the moment. That concerns me health-wise for Deebo, but Deebo is the guy. This is a huge, huge piece for him because of the guy that's hurt not playing for him last week. Dalton Schultz, he plays for the Houston Texans. He will always be around the end zone, and so touchdown luck does happen. Christian McCaffrey did not play this week. It remains to be seen what this injury is and how lingering it will be. Now, I looked into my crystal ball, and it said it's not that big a deal. Christian McCaffrey's going to play. However, listen to me on this, however. There is now going to be a ramp up for Christian McCaffrey after we saw how good Mason was. His snap count will most likely be down, so we're not going to see crazy Christian McCaffrey numbers this week, I don't believe. However, later in the season, he's going to be full on bell cow. Breece Hall, 15.8. Absolutely solid. Jets are good. Parts of it did not look like it during the San Francisco game, but they know how to play football. Caleb Williams, they will figure it out, I want to believe, because I personally want the Bears to be good. It is his bench that really sells it for me. Ladd McConkey, going to be a solid stream / depth piece. George Pickens is going to be a solid depth piece. Malik Neighbors, solid depth piece. He's got the Irving handcuff for Rachaad White. Who else am I missing? Tank Bigsby is also here. His running back, he's got wide receiver depth. I love this roster. It's the roster that does it for me. Now, moving on to number 1. There's nobody left. So let's go ahead and talk about the Dallas Dragons. Okay. I was so torn between the Huntsville Hitmen and the Dallas Dragons. Dallas Dragons scored 143 points this week. That did not weigh in on why they are number 1. Kyler Murray, I am higher on this year than I have been in years past. And with him having 57 rushing yards, he did fumble the ball, But with him having 57 rushing yards, I believe that is only going to increase. He will also have more than one passing touchdown / rushing touchdowns in the future. I think that Dragon has an absolute gold mine in Kyler Murray right now. Saquon Barkley scoring at 32 points, I think, is his ceiling, but it does look promising for the amount of carries that he had and the fact that he can catch the football. And it looks like he might run the football in outside of the tush push. Jahmyr Gibbs, also a dog. Justin Jefferson will hold the phone on because Sam Darnold is throwing him the ball, and this was against the New York Giants. This is a question mark. Garrett Wilson, he has Aaron Rodgers throwing him the football. I love this. Pat Freiermuth, I am very high on. I wanted to get him at the beginning of the season. He is going to be very, very good. I think he will be a top 5 tight end this year for fantasy. Travis Etienne had a solid game. Chris Olave, surprisingly, with how many points the Saints put up, Olave was almost nowhere to be seen. He only caught 2 passes, but I think that we only see this improve. Jaden Daniels was very good. He did get a garbage time touchdown, but garbage time touchdowns count in fantasy rather than just like counting in your heart as a whatever you want to call it. Isaiah Likely. I don't know that we see a repeat of week 1, but Baltimore playing in between the 20s, he is going to rack up receiving yards. He had 111 receiving yards this past week. I think that is his ceiling. It remains to be seen. However, I think that is going to be the primary target between the 20s outside of Zay Flowers. So I think the amount of receptions that he's going to see is going to, it could stay around that 9-10 mark week in and week out. Tank Dell is going to be a solid depth piece, especially if there are any injuries in Houston. I want to like Xavier Legette, but he has Bryce Young throwing him the football. I guess his bench did not perform as incredible as I expected them to, but again, offenses were clunky. But I think he has enough depth, and I think he has enough good situations for the players that are on his team that are going to make him very, very tough to beat week in and week out. I think this team has one of the lowest floors in terms of points scored. I don't even think that we saw his ceiling this week. That's why I have the Dragons at number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed. I appreciate you all for coming in and visiting during these power rankings. I imagine they will change next week, but I don't know how much remains to be seen unless we have some frauds in our midst. Okay. I am looking forward to week 2. And let's go ahead and get into, let's just go ahead and put a matchup of the week out there. Tennessee Colonels are playing the Pigs. Not a matchup of the week. Beecher Creatures playing the Clark County Crusaders. Got must win. I'm putting this as a must win for Rex. Dallas Dragons against the Bear Boobs. I think that intrigues me. Huntsville Hitmen playing against the Shadow Troop. Might as well be playing against a JV football team. I'm putting the Bond County Coonhounds and the St. Louis Looters as the matchup of the week. I think this will be the closest matchup, at least in terms of projections, but I think these teams are very even. That is going to be my matchup of the week. I would like to say that we're going to win, but Lord knows what the hell is going to happen in week 2. Gentlemen, it has been a pleasure being your commissioner, and I'm looking forward to week 2.